3, 2, 1.
From the mic to your ear, the Calitraveler Podcast Show is here. Created on Anchor.fm and distributed worldwide on various listening platforms. This is the Calitraveler Podcast Show. Welcome back to Season 3, Episode 8 of the Calitraveler Podcast Show. I've missed you so much, and I hope you're in good health always, and hoping that you are finding happiness and success in 2022 as we are approaching the end of the year. You've been probably wondering where I've been at the past few months. I will tell you that I'm okay, but there's a lot we need to catch up on. Where do I begin with this? So much has happened in the past few months. Lots of ups and downs. The biggest disappointment is being so busy in life that it's taken me a while to update you on everything. And for that, I apologize. Things get in the way in life and you've got to make your priorities. Now you, my listener, you are my priority. But school has been finishing this journey and beginning a new journey, which is starting to build a good life. And it's so crazy that these 4 years have passed by so fast. Crazy how many ups and downs that I have experienced living abroad. Do I regret ever coming abroad and studying? No. It had been a dream of mine since I was a teenager. I actually had an opportunity when I was a teenager to go study abroad when I was 16 years old and study in Australia. But at that time, my parents felt that I was too young to go abroad alone. But years later, I accomplished that dream when I came to Thailand in 2018. At that time, I was 25 years old. I'll be 30 in March. So the fact that I'm almost done with my degree, it's just been absolutely amazing. Now, onwards to this past semester. It was by far the busiest, the most chaotic, the most stressful semester that I have ever endured. This past semester marked the beginning of the end of my university career as I took Digital Media Workshop 1. Digital Media Workshop 1 is part 1 of my major's version of creating a thesis paper. We had a theme given to us by workshop advisors. We could choose from creating a documentary, a vlog, you could do a graphic design like an animation, some sort of artwork, you could do music videos, podcasts, etc. We needed to create work that centered around a theme, and that theme had to involve celebration. So I ended up working with a classmate that I had worked with previously, and we ended up creating a vlog. It was a lot of work and tiring nights of trying to perfect everything. Yes, I know, it's workshop 1, but this is the beginning of the end of studying, and you want to have your work be as professional as can be. You want your work to be able to impress people outside of university when you're applying for jobs. Your work is art, and art should be perfect. Yes, there are going to be imperfections, but there's always room for improvement. So for the workshop project that a group member and I did, in July I ended up traveling to Malaysia and Singapore to shoot footage for the project. It was the first time I had left Thailand in over 2 years due to the COVID-19 pandemic. I was very excited to travel to Malaysia. As you all know, it's one of my favorite countries, and I've been there a total of 5 times. This was the first time I traveled outside of Thailand in 3 years. Last time I traveled internationally was to visit back home in December 2019. I was so excited to travel out of the country. I will remind all of those that are in Thailand on a visa, such as a work visa and student visa, you need to go to immigration or go to the airport early and apply for a re-entry permit. I am going to repeat that again because I cannot stress enough how much that needs to be done. You need to apply for a re-entry permit. This permit allows you to re-enter Thailand and keep your visa valid. There are two types of re-entry permits. There's single entry and multiple entry. Single entry is 1,900 Thai baht or $50 US, and multiple entry is 3,800 baht or $101 US. Single entry allows one-time entry into Thailand. Let's say you go abroad and you visit home, but you don't feel like traveling, then single entry re-entry visa is perfect for you. But if you're like me who likes to travel, I use multiple re-entry permit because I can go in and out of the country as much as I want as long as my visa is valid. Make sure you get that done. I ended up waking up at 4 in the morning for my flight. My flight was at 7:20. And yes, I am that guy that shows up to the airport 3 hours before my flight. Typically, it's recommended to go to the airport 2 hours before flying, but I always like to go 1 hour above the recommendation just in case there's some problems that need to be sorted out. They can be sorted out. So my flight to Kuala Lumpur was at 7:20 in the morning, and as usual, I flew with AirAsia. To Malaysia, you had to provide proof of vaccination against COVID-19. If you've never been to Malaysia, I highly recommend visiting. I have always said that Malaysia reminds me a lot of the US because of the diversity. In previous episodes of the Calitraveler Podcast Show and YouTube videos, I have constantly expressed my love for Malaysia. This trip, I was in Malaysia for 3 days and I stayed in Johor Bahru. Johor Bahru is in the southern part of Malaysia in the state of Johor, and it's right on the border with Singapore. For example, if you're out on the waterfront of Johor Bahru in the downtown area, you can actually see Singapore from there. It's kind of like you're in Oakland and then you look west of you and you can see San Francisco. It's kind of the same vibes, I guess, except this is an international border. What was great is that the flight was from Suvarnabhumi Airport to Kuala Lumpur International Airport. Previously, I would fly to Johor Bahru from Dan Mueang International Airport. Dan Mueang is north of Bangkok, but the problem with Dan Mueang is the distance. From my home, it is about 50 kilometers or about 30 to 32 miles. And with traffic, it can take over an hour and 30 minutes just to get there. So Suvarnabhumi, luckily, is within distance. 2 hours later, flight was great. However, I felt like I was in the movie Home Alone when the family is running through the airport because they just happened to miss their flight or they're about to miss their flight. I had to run to immigration, and then I had to run to the domestic terminal for my flight to Johor Bahru. And all of this was done in less than 1 hour. So it was extremely stressful, but luckily I made it through and got on my flight. So I got on the plane and I flew to Senai Airport in Johor Bahru. And luckily with that flight, it took under 1 hour. Such an easy flight. I took a nap on that flight. And my advice to you, take a little bit of a nap because it'll really help out with jet lag. So I landed in Johor Bahru, and you know how it goes. Check in the hotel, have a meal, blah, blah, blah. I wake up the next day, and I was so excited for the place I was going to. I was going to country number 7. Singapore. I had heard so much about Singapore for years and was therefore excited to visit. I heard stories about Singapore being this first world country in the middle of Southeast Asia, spending an entire day there. Now, there are many ways to enter Singapore from Malaysia. There are 2 border crossings. The Johor-Singapore Causeway Bridge, which connects TIQ checkpoint in Malaysia to Woodlands checkpoint in Woodlands, which is in the northern part of Singapore. There are ways you can get across the border. You can drive a car, you can ride a motorcycle, you can hire a taxi, you can take a bus or a train. My advice to you is make sure that if you're going to take a car or a motorcycle across the border from Malaysia to Singapore, that you have the proper paperwork. You need to apply for an auto pass, and as well as you need to have any documentation such as insurance translated from Malay to English. And this also applies for motorcycles, so no need to worry if you end up getting everything done. You won't have problems at the border. And I woke up early in the morning and I went to JB Central, where the train station is at, and I took the train to Woodlands. Now you're wondering, is the commute across the border to Singapore hectic? You'd be surprised. Going from Malaysia to Singapore, it's not hectic at all. In fact, the train ride is only 5 minutes across the border so quickly. I checked in with ICA, which is the Immigration and Checkpoints Authority of Singapore. What's really cool about ICA is they have an app you can download for your phone about the declaration form, your visitor form, and you just show them the email, got on a bus, and by the way, most buses in Singapore are double-decker buses like in the UK, and then went to MRT. MRT is the train network system of Singapore. Woodlands MRT, they have a ticket station where you can buy tourist card, valid maximum is 30 days. It's a $10 deposit and then it's $20 for the card itself. And what's amazing about this card is you can use all transportation. To be honest with you, do not get me started on how bad public transportation is back home. When I was in Singapore, I was surprised at how reliable, how punctual, how safe, how clean, and how quiet public transportation is. When I was in Singapore, I saw places like Chinatown. And Chinatown in Singapore reminded me a lot of Chinatown, Oakland, with the way that it's laid out. It's very wide open space, and it's just amazing. I've been to Orchard Road, the main shopping area in Singapore. I went to Marina Bay. Marina Bay has such an amazing view. You have gardens by the bay. You have the Sands Marina Bay. Honestly, the impressions of Singapore is amazing. I was surprised how clean Singapore was. Didn't see a single piece of litter on the ground, not even pieces of gum. It's illegal to import chewing gum into Singapore. I was surprised how safe the country was. Everyone was on their best behavior. I was shocked at how nice people were when I was trying to find the Woodlands MRT, some random person on the bus, and they were so kind, and they said, "Oh, you have to get off after this block." Okay, great. They were helpful. In the States, if you ask somebody where a bus stop is at, most of the times they don't help you out. It sucks. I got back to Malaysia. I'm going to tell you this. The commute coming back from Singapore to Malaysia is a bit of a nightmare. First of all, I couldn't get a ticket for a train back to JB Central. I had to take a bus. The bus was super crowded. There is no room to sit. If you're lucky to get a seat, hurry up and sit down. Otherwise, it's going to be taken and you're going to be standing the entire time. So I got back across to Malaysia. And it took about 1 hour to get through Malaysian immigration because there were so many people that were there. It ended up being a weekend. When I got back to Malaysia, I ended up celebrating Muslim holiday of Eid al-Adha. And the day after, I had to go home. And I flew out from Johor Bahru to Kuala Lumpur. I had an 8-hour layover at KLIA2. Did some exploring around KLIA2. And it's a huge airport. Probably the biggest airport that I've ever been to outside of LAX and Shanghai Pudong Airport. KLIA2 is huge. There is a shopping mall that is within the airport, and it's called Gateway at KLIA2. Pretty cool. And walking around KLIA2, there was a lot of security. And security guards were posted at every elevator, every escalator, everywhere you can think of at KLIA2 airport. Security was there. And I was trying to figure out, why was there so much security? There was a significant event that took place at KLIA2 5 years ago. And it was an assassination of a family member of a political leader. And I'll give you a hint. The political leader from this country is notorious. The country is known as the Hermit Kingdom. And you can probably guess it. That country happens to be North Korea. In 2017, Kim Jong-nam, the brother of North Korean Supreme Leader Kim Jong-un, was killed at the airport. Now, of course, if you want to learn more about the assassination of Kim Jong-nam, there was a National Geographic video that I saw. I'll share the link in the description. After having a very long layover, you have no idea how excited I was to leave Kuala Lumpur and return back to Bangkok. I missed Bangkok a lot, and I was ready to get back. All this happened. I ended up traveling to Malaysia in September again to finish completing the workshop. There were some things that I needed to fix still. It was absolutely amazing. The workshop project was a lot of work and it was extremely stressful. I'm extremely happy that this workshop was over with. I'm doing Digital Media Workshop 2 right now. The theme for this one is proud. Luckily, I'm working with a group again. Start getting to work soon. I'm just looking forward to graduating soon. The second person in my family to have a degree higher than high school. So my older sister, she has both a bachelor's degree and a master's degree. And then I'd be the second sibling to have my bachelor's degree. So I'm really looking forward to that. It's exciting to see what's going to lie ahead. I will leave this off by saying that I missed you so much, and I hope that you are having a wonderful life. I hope that you are in good health. I hope that you are fulfilling all your hopes and dreams. I hope that I don't have to keep you waiting as much as I did because of school. But I hope that you understand that I will always do my best to present all of you new content. Take care.